Men are the problem.
Men.
Men leave.
Are men trash?
Men or a bear?
It's because a man done did something to her.
The bear's not gonna.
So men have been.
Men are the most horrible creatures.
Kind of angered me, right? This video kind of angered me. So, you know, we are going to react to it, you know, get what you guys think. I'm trying to.
I'm just going to be the one to say it. I think all men have a genetic predisposition to sexual depravity and physical violence. I'm going to say it, and I know I'm right because I am a woman who has to live in a society with men, and because of the rising femicide that is happening globally.
So, off the bat, she says men have a genetic disposition for violence and sexual depravity. Okay. So essentially, men, it's in men to be violent, to be terrible, to...
Olympian athlete who was set on fire by her ex after returning from the Paris Olympics, the doctor in India who was raped to death by her colleagues. In fact, she was raped so hard and assaulted so hard her pelvis broke. The woman in France whose husband recruited men to rape her after the husband would drug the woman, his wife. I can't even go into detail to describe some of these things. They're so depraved and so god-awful. They're making my stomach churn.
Yes, I think they're disgusting as well. This is the thing, yes. It's like people can't evolve. This is the thing, right? Let's say, forget about the evolution thing, right? Maybe, yeah, men terrible 1,000 years ago. But, okay, it's like we forget, okay, what's human beings. What are human beings? It's like we forget that the problem with a lot of human beings, man or woman, if you are controlled by your emotions, if you are, it's like we ignore what human beings, animals are capable of. We ignore it. And then this is the problem what I'm talking about, where we only connotate things with gender. If he's a man, he's evil. If he's a woman, no blame. Angel, angelic. This is the thing where there's just the two stories he's talked about. They are disgusting. I know those stories. As a man, I don't promote that. That is disgusting. Okay? Those men that committed those crimes needs the severest punishment possible. Hell, I don't even care if they get death. Right? I mean, it's like, seriously, my thing is men that commit like assault against children, they need to be castrated. Okay? So they can't forever not do anything sexually harmful to people, especially to children. 100%. Okay? Men that commit I mean, like, this is a thing where you can see that there are people out there that commit crime. It don't matter because you're a man. You are just a terrible person that you committed crime. I hate it when we have to connotate things because he's a man. That's why he committed something. No.
Miss me with the not all men, because it's enough of you that we as women are extraordinarily cautious and terrified.
It's enough of you. Not all men, but it's enough of you. So here's the thing, right? Here's the insanity. It's like, this is the thing I always said. The majority of violent crimes are committed by men. Yes. But here's the distinction. Majority of men don't commit violent crimes. It's two different things. Okay? When you say that, yes, violent crimes are committed by men, but it don't mean that all men or majority of men are committing those crimes. So you can't, this is the thing, right? If you do statistics, the majority of women are the ones who's committing crimes against children. Majority of women commit crimes against children. So if you think that, okay, not all women, but enough women, so what? Once women give birth to a child, should the government take the child away from a mother because you're going by what a few women have done? That's the hypocrisy, right? That you don't go, that women don't subscribe to that notion. That's the insanity of it. Because as long as it's against men, it is fine, right? As long as any kind of statistics or any kind of cherry picking stories is fine, right? If it's against men, that's the one you talk about.
And scared. You all are weird and depraved in ways that religion,
You're all weird and depraved. All.
medicine, and society cannot cure. Also, miss me with the excuses. Miss me with it's the video games. It's the pornography. It's the rising sexual explicitness in music and in social media. Miss me with that. Because the countries where these things are happening, Mexico, countries in Africa, countries in South Asia.
Exactly. Look at it. Majority, right? Majority of school teachers are women. Okay? We have a single mother epidemic. Majority of daycares are women. Men are not in those situations. And how many, I'm going to show you like at least 2 clips, at least 2, right? Or maybe more of women committing the crimes, right? I just want to show you this long ass video I'm angry about it. So I might as well show you guys to get your emotions riling.
Countries in East Asia where these things are happening in extraordinarily traditional conservative societies where those countries don't even have widespread internet access to the media that we consume here in the West. Their internet doesn't even allow them access to social media apps, much less pornography websites, much less movies and television shows with explicit scenes. So miss me with that. Those are all just excuses that let these depraved, weird individuals off the hook. And you want to know how you know I'm right? You want to know how you know you're going to know that I'm right about what I'm saying? 2 things are going to know that I'm right. One, there are not going to be any men arguing with me in the comments when I say that I think all of them are genetically, by virtue of having more Y chromosomes than X chromosomes, they are genetically predisposed to being sexually depraved and physically violent. One, look at what they do to one another in all male jails and prisons. You ask a man who's just gotten out of a stint in jail or prison what really goes on there between the other convicts or the other inmates. He gets quiet, he gets defensive, he starts...
Women do the same in all... Women are like... Women are messing with other women in prison as well. This is the thing, right? It's like you ignore what women do. It's not the gender, okay?
Making excuses. 1, and 2, you're not going to see any of them arguing with me in the comments. Of course, if they do, they're blocked, but they know I'm right too. They have a genetic predisposition.
So her first argument is that no man is going to argue with her in the comments. Then she follows up that if they do, they will be blocked. Yeah.
I think something's wrong with them. Miss me with the neonatalism arguments or whatever you natalist, anti-natalist, whatever the fuck you talk about. Miss me with those arguments too. They have a genetic predisposition to do this. And I think that the genetic predisposition is so strong, it's something that they have to actively fight every day. Every morning they wake up and they have to fight the urge to be sexually depraved towards women and towards their fellow men. Laws, the threat of jail, the threat of prison, the threat of execution is not even strong enough to deter them. That's how depraved the genetic predisposition is. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. I am right and I should say it. I think the statistic in Mexico is that 10 women are dying per day from femicide. 10 human beings, 10 women's lives being taken every day. You can't even fathom that. You can't even quantify that. So what's going to change all of this? What's going to finally reform this? When women start shooting and killing these men, like putting them on t-shirts, sending them to their makers, like pushing them into the afterlife, not shooting to maim, not shooting to injure, not just self-defense, but actually killing these men, that's when you'll see gun reform laws in America.
Here's the thing, right? I'm all support in women defending themselves. I'm all support of anyone defending themselves. It's like it's like women shouldn't defend themselves. This is the thing where, you know, that's the problem where I can't understand it. Where it is not about there are men that are terrible, absolutely terrible. Defend yourself, right? Defend yourself. I'm in all support. But the problem is that you want to connotate to just pretty much blame all men. It's like, here's the thing where I think it's funny that, let's say the incel men, right? They blame all women. They blame all women. These men, these group of men blame all women for any of their problems. How they view the world, how they view women. They blame all women. And then people will criticize and, shun and all of the shit towards these men, which is, yes, these men are ridiculous. Yeah, here's a woman that will put the blame on all men. And nothing, it's like, it's a mirror image, right? And no one can realize that. You are no different than incel men.
That's when you'll see the strictest gun control measures you have ever seen, heard, or read about in your life, is when women start shooting and killing them in return. That's also when you'll see more active legislative reforms and stricter punishments towards these depraved, weird men for doing the horrible, unspeakable things that they like to do to women, is when women start killing them and like having to go to prison for killing them. Then society and lawmakers will collectively say, oh, this is terrible, maybe we should do something about this. Also miss me, with the excuses that these are just a few bad apples. These are just madmen who are deprived and depraved. The woman in France...
Here's the thing, right? Miss me that it's a few bad apples. Okay, fine. If that's your logic, right? If that's your logic, do you apply that same logic to women, right? So when I show you, and there's plenty of cases that women are equally, okay, depraved or violent or, heinous acts, are you going to say that that's a few bad apples? Are you going to say that's a select few women? Are you going to say that's not all women?
Whose husband, her own husband and father of her children, they documented 92 cases of sexual assault / rape against her. Those are just the ones that they've confirmed, documented, based on the photos and the videos they found on the husband's computer. 92 men who, for all intents and purposes, were themselves husbands and fathers, had regular...
92 men. There is 4 billion men in this world. 92 is not even a drop in the bucket. 92 is not even a drop in the bucket.
Their jobs, probably were churchgoers, probably were volunteers, pillars
and
in their...
again, I'm not, like, those men are disgusting. Those men are disgusting. They are heinous. They are bottom of the barrel men. Those men deserve the harshest punishment possible. There's no arguing that. This is the thing where, yes, this woman is talking about heinous acts by men. I hate that shit too. I am against that shit too. What I am also against is that you put blame on all men for the actions of a few men. And it is a few men. When you count, there are 4 billion men on this planet. Let's say 1 million men, okay, are the heinous of heinous men. 1 million is nothing. That is probably barely a drop in the bucket. I mean, that's the thing where women,
community, or just normal, regular, unsuspecting guys. Not one of them showed up to the house with law enforcement in tow or with the media in tow to say, this is wrong, you should stop that. Not one of those 92 men. Not a one. Okay, the doctor in India who was R-worded to death by her colleagues, so much so that her pelvis broke, not one of said colleagues or rapists stood up and said, we should stop this. This is wrong. Not one of them tried to fight any of them off or tried to move her body to somewhere that was protected in the building. No, not one of them. So it's not society. It's not the increasing sexual explicit lyrics in music. It's not pornography. It's not explicit scenes in television and movies. It's not a few bad apples. It's all of you. Because the ones who...
Here's the thing, right? She takes away all excuses, which is fine. There's no excuses for such heinous acts. I agree. The problem is, I hope you apply that same logic to women.
Aren't actively doing it.
Yes, she's making me lose my mind too, right? She is making me lose my mind. I wanted to, because the anger I feel about women like this is insane. So that's why I wanted to show you. But here's the thing where I wanted to make this a complete video, right? That's why I'm doing it, but here.
The woman you just saw in that video leading the class, 26-year-old Reagan Gray, turned out to be a pedophile. Just last month, Reagan was arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with one of the 15-year-olds that she was in charge of at her church. At the time of the abuse, Reagan was teaching at the Little Rock Christian Academy and volunteered for her church Emmanuel Baptist student ministry. So basically, Reagan tried her hardest to work around as many children as possible. Who knows what kind of horrific thoughts were running through her mind at all times when she was around these kids. Reagan, before her arrest, was a woman of God, someone who devoted her life to living a pure, holy life. But in 2020, the parents of a student allegedly found text messages between his teacher and himself. Keep in mind, he was a minor. They confronted Reagan about it. She said she would cut off all communication with the kid, and she insisted that it had never been physical. However, in a counseling session in 2023, Gray herself admitted that the relationship had been physical and sexual. And after she ratted on herself, an arrest affidavit was secured, and she was eventually arrested.
A 74-year-old female teacher faces 600 years behind bars for assaulting a teen. This happened in Toma, Wisconsin. This is her. And for the life of me, I cannot find the private school that this happened at. It seems to have been scrubbed from the internet. There is not one article that says what school it is, and there is not one place that I can find where she worked. So if you
Nearly 350 K-12 educators arrested on child crimes.
know and you can find it, please comment, because I'm real curious as to why it's not being shown. It's being said that she assaulted a teenage boy in the basement of the school several times during the 2016 and 2017 school year. And I'm assuming they don't want to release that because why was this woman in this school allowed to take this 14-year-old boy down to a basement without anybody questioning it? I might have an idea.
This 24-year-old teacher was kissing her 5th grade student during school hours. This all came to light when the boy's mother
The executioners are shaken and they had to put a teacher down today. A kindergarten teacher in China, 40-year-old Wang.
Kindergarten teacher in China. And I'm just scrubbing through these. I'm not even like really looking at them that well. Remember that misandrous women, right? Saying, "Oh, the places in the country, the places in countries that don't even have internet, right? That like the men are terrible in those places." A kindergarten teacher in China.
Wang Young, she poisoned her kindergarten class. Poisoned 25 of those students and unalived one of those babies, all for a revenge plot, for an argument with somebody else at the school. Let's talk about it. Now, what's crazy about this teacher is she did this before. She actually poisoned her husband back in the day and didn't get in trouble for it. She put sodium nitrate in his drink. Now, he survived, but he got extremely ill. She did this as a revenge on him, but they're not saying the exact reason. She took that same sodium nitrate, put it in those kids' porridge in the morning. Let me show you and tell you about sodium nitrate. So this is sodium nitrate. It's a white or yellowish substance. It can be turned into a powder, and it's used in fertilizers. But back in the early 1900s, it was used to cure food. Now, it could immediately unalive you as soon as you ingest it. Tears up your stomach, regurgitating, diarrhea, stomach be tore up. And a lot of these kids, little bodies, are not supposed to be able to take a poison that heavy. Now, she put it in their porridge. Every single morning, the kids in China have something called 8 treasures porridge. Let me show you that. Now, usually porridge looks like this. It's morning. She sprinkled it in their pot that everybody eats out of. And the kids were saying that it tasted salty. They immediately started regurgitating in all over the room. The doctor was called, and one of the kids, now this happened in March 2019, okay? One of the kids that passed away, the one child that passed away, that poor baby was hospitalized for 10 months. So that baby didn't pass away until 2020. Now she is been executed. She's out of here. So they're saying that she did this because she got into an argument with another administrator at the school about some administrative stuff. I guess the argument must have been bad. And she used the children to get back at the school administrator. Clearly, this is Ticky Boom, in the words of Wendy Williams, Ticky Boom. And so in her mind, revenge is not going to fall back on her if all of these kids was to pass away. Well, they got her out of here, honey. China doesn't play. China.
Here's the thing, right? This is not trying to be tit for tat kind of thing. I'm not trying to do that. I mean, it seems like that, but this is what I'm trying to do is that it's not the gender. It's not the gender that makes someone do bad things. They're just bad people. Yeah, Americans cause suit. But like I said, it's not about the gender. It's not about the race of the person. They are bad people in this world. This is the thing where women constantly neglect this. There are bad and good people in every single demographic, in every kind of group. Yet, when you think about bad, you only equate it to men. And I don't discredit that there are bad men out there. But when you say that all men are bad, just because they're men, I will point out that hypocrisy. I will point out that BS. Okay? I'm not trying to play tit for tat. Okay? And this is the thing. I've had women say, oh, I'm cherry picking. Really? Because the other woman was cherry picking. She picked heinous stories. Because again, if every man was bad, then yes, you're not cherry picking. You have plenty to pick from. I mean, there's no choice that you pick bad stories because every man does something bad. But that's not true. Okay? Like I said, yes, the majority of violent crimes are committed by men. But this is a problem, or a counter to it. The majority of men don't commit violent crimes. Hell, it's a minority of men. Okay? Let me say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I believe violent crimes committed by men were like, in maybe a year's time, is probably 100,000, 300. It's like, it's in the hundreds of thousands. When we are millions in population, right? I'm talking about maybe U.S. statistics. Yes, are there bad men out there? Yes. Okay? But equally, there are bad women. And I'm not trying to say, oh, women are bad too. No, they're just bad people out there. Okay? It wasn't because a man was born a man, that means he's evil. Same with, not just because a woman is born a woman, that means that she's likely to do bad things to children. No. That's the thing why I want to talk about. Why I wanted to point out, and because this is the thing. For the last few days or weeks, that's what I see on TikTok, which is, I guess, it's my For You, it's the algorithm, but I can't believe that heinousness. Right? I will also condemn men for saying, oh, all women are, terrible. All women are, blah, blah, blah. No, because that's not true. But this is a thing where if men do it, people will call that out. People will call that out. And then you will also have social media. These platforms giving men strikes, calling that out and, banning it too. But this is the problem. When women do it, it is fine. And that is the insanity I want to point out. So